Gary, I'll be doing some video editing.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So it's my head's cut off. I'm a little. Wait. No.
The other way. That's better.
That's why video editing was created. Okay.
I don't know how to video it, but I'll have to learn for CalCPA.
Oh yeah, iMovie.
Yes, that's what I'll be using.
Okay. These don't have it though, unfortunately.
But
yeah. Okay.
But the school ones do. The big Mac.
Oh, that might be better than using. Mine's all slow. Yeah. Okay. So, thank you for letting me observe your class earlier today.
I was like, you come in and check things out. It's nice having another pair of eyes to
Yeah, absolutely.
look at things.
And it was really, I really appreciated getting to see you start the semester with a different class, because I know that you came in the middle of in the middle of the fall, and it was a very different kind of conversation we had planning.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely saw you more at ease, and just it seemed like a very enjoyable environment for the students.
I'm definitely it's been really nice getting to start over and kind of setting my procedures early on, because it's kind of the students are coming in, they know what to expect, and not but we used to do this and this and that, so there's not as much confusion. So I'm really enjoying that. I think I've grown in classroom management. Of course, I still have a lot more to grow on, but I think it feels so much better than I did last semester. So I'm happy about that. But it is a challenge right now, starting off with getting to know what the students like and what works for them, what doesn't work for them, how they will react to certain things, because I was so used to knowing what the other kids responded to. So it's a learning progress with how to teach these new students and learners.
So then I'm wondering, you acknowledge some growth in your own professional development.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say you grew? What would you say you can attribute that growth in classroom management specifically to?
A lot of things. First of all, just being in, day out with the students and learning to work with different personalities. Mm-hmm. And I think a huge thing that helped me was, and that I learned and that I want to be better at this semester, is consistency. We had many meetings where we're okay, we need to work on consistency or be consistent, because sometimes things are going well and you kind of put your guard down a little because things are working fine, and then some kids will take advantage of it, or the students need to have that consistency. So I think that is key. And honestly, it's one thing that I've learned, and it's what I love about teaching, is mentoring. Mm-hmm. And having that relationship with the students, getting to know them, really makes a difference when it comes to classroom management. Mm-hmm. Which is what I'm working on this week with the students, is community building and establishing those relationships to create that trust and safe space in the classroom. And honestly, that's what helped me maybe the most last semester. Is I remember starting off day one, not having a relationship with the students, and so much defiance, resistance. And by the end, seeing two key students that were so tough at the beginning that I didn't know how I was going to make it work with those students, ended up being some of my best students. I remember one girl, the first few days, she used to sit with one of her best friends, and it was continuously defiance and all these things. Mm-hmm. But by the end, we developed a relationship where she apologized to me and told me, well, you know what, Miss A, I was really bad too. I was really bad in your class and mean to you. I was depressed. I was cutting myself. I was going through all these things. Mm-hmm. And by the end of the semester, she was the student whom I can count on to help one of my students at IEPs, to motivate, to do all these works, which is awesome. And then my other student was on day 2, he was you're not gonna make it past a month, not even a week, And by the end, it was a joke, because everybody we developed a great relationship. He was participating in class, and he was doing with an IEP, and the way he grew in class, it was really awesome. And I think that was due to establishing a safe space and having that relationship with the students, especially with the demographic we work with, and some of their backgrounds. Is key to have that relationship in order to have effective classroom management, because you can have all the best classroom management strategies and try everything, but if they don't have this relationship or respect for you, then it's not gonna work.
No, and then you're absolutely right. Building relationships, and then it's an ongoing process. And I mean, that's how you and I built our relationship too. While there was never any resistance.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, I've seen that it's helped your craft. So kind of bringing it back, because I got a little off track of my
okay.
So in the lesson that I observed today, what was supposed to happen? So think back to the conversation we first had in our pre-conference.
Yeah, we were looking at exploring how we communicate with different cultures and with different people, and taking that and how do we communicate with like appropriate behavior. And that was my intention for the lesson. I don't think it exactly went like that today, fully, because we were a bit behind, because we didn't get to do all like the beginning and foundational stuff to make it to that lesson yesterday. So I was trying to kind of compact everything into one day today, which is overwhelming and too much. But I just didn't know how I could like change it up so that we could still have that similar type of lesson. So I don't think it went as well, especially second period. But I was able to modify it a bit here and there. Second period, third and fourth, and by fourth period, it went. I think fourth period it became a good medium of having both lessons kind of into one lesson. But I don't think it went exactly as I wanted it to go or had intended it to go last week.
So what were some of those areas where you saw that the tweaking needed to be done? And then what were the modifications that you ended up doing?
Definitely some tweaking at the beginning, and I think you only got to watch record the first part of it, so we didn't get to talking more about formal and doing it together on the computer. We didn't get to that point, but definitely tweaking it after the PowerPoint and where you get them to practice. I don't think I was able to communicate the significance of actually practicing that. Because to them, a lot of that vocabulary is basic. And then I don't think I was able to communicate and make them realize how important it was for them to actually practice it. Whereas I modified that, and by the end, what I did in third and fourth period was we went through the different expressions, and I pointed out new ones that I'm sure they wouldn't really use as much. They know, but they didn't use. And I had them raise their hand, okay, how many of you use this expression? Hasta mañana, hasta pronto, these ones. And we were all able to see the number of hands and how certain hands would go down, a lot of them when they didn't use certain expressions, because they're used to by adios, hasta luego probably, but not other ones. So I think then being able to see oh yeah, we don't really use this one, make them more buy into the whole, okay, go have a conversation with somebody. And what I did by fourth period, I was like, okay, your task is to go, get up, take your nameplate with the vocab on the back, go have a conversation with the classmate. Every time you change classmates, use different vocabulary words. Use an expression you haven't used. And I saw that was more effective when I was overhearing their conversations. So that was a modification I did for that in order to make it more meaningful and for them to realize that they do need to build their vocabulary, that the basic is not enough. Another thing was that with explaining the informal and formal Spanish, I started off with the you in English, how do you say tú in English? You, how do you say usted? So they realized that it's only one way to say in English, where it splits off into two very different ones in Spanish. So I drew a tree up there for them. And then I had a worksheet for them, one explaining 5 categories for formal and informal. And within the categories, there were subcategories of relationships. And I put on the projector, and then as the class went together and chose, hey, which one would you use for this one and why? And that was more scaffolding for the backside. In the backside, they had to do it on their own. So second period, I didn't do that scaffolding. And I think it was necessary to be able to equip them with better tools in order to be able to explain why it was necessary. And I think that was much more helpful. The scaffolding was necessary for the students.
So I completely agree. I think that additional scaffolding and kind of presenting alternative kind of phrases definitely supports them when they leave your classroom to be able to engage with others in Spanish. Something that I want you to think back on, and I would want to hear your thoughts on it. So think back to second period in terms of the flow of your lesson, and then which students do you feel raise their hand, and which students do you feel that you called on to share their responses?
Yes, I called on a lot on this little corner area because I have right now they're free seating, but they're getting assigned seats tomorrow. And I have I know I can think of Jimmy, Randy, Jesus, a lot of these names that I called on consistently because they're the ones that had their hands raised, or were I know I can call on even if they don't raise their hand, because there's already this sense of you're gonna be okay if I call on you. Okay, you won't feel bad or shy if you don't know the answer, but I kind of know you're gonna know the answer. I think this is my second day with the students. I don't feel comfortable just calling on a random student because I don't know how they feel and where they're at in their language acquisition. But with their seating charts, I want to spread them out so that they can influence the kids next to them and make it more equitable to call on different people. Definitely, that's something that I did remember, like, because you hear yourself, I'm like, oh, I just called on Jimmy not too long ago, or Glasses not too long ago. So I know there's more students I could call on, definitely.
You know, that's always tricky with language because you don't want to, like, betray their trust before they even, like, develop it with you.
Yeah, especially, like, on day 2, I'm kind of trying to let certain students just, you know, like, if I have volunteers, that's great, because then I don't have to, like, force someone to talk. But at the same time, I don't want other students to get comfortable with, oh, well, they're going to take charge, they're going to talk, kind of thing. But participation is part of their grade, which is, I feel like it, last semester I didn't have that established because it wasn't established in the prior grading system that they had here, like the other teacher had, but with this semester it is. So once we get more trust and, you know, like I know all of their names too, then I can, you know, pick on more people.
I completely understand too, like, again, you have like the blend of English language, well, Spanish language learners, and then like academic Spanish language learners. So you have that delicate balance in your class.
Definitely. But it's interesting seeing, always seeing what certain students, how they can shine in this class, and when they're doing other classes. It's been interesting seeing, like, I heard some comments here, like, oh, like, dude, you're actually pretty smart. I was like, I'm sorry? Is that like the nicest thing to say?
I know your intent, but
yeah. How do we communicate? It was funny. But the cool thing is that with 4th period, after, you know, taught lesson twice, we were able to explore more of what it means to communicate with people of different cultures and even create that understanding of English and Spanish, and how even 3rd period, because I remember being able to talk with Andy and Taran and Ruby about this, because they became interested in the topic of how they didn't realize this, but like when you talk with Spanish-speaking people, there's not only are you communicating like orally, but also body language. I was able to get that better in 3rd and 4th period, because I got it in 2nd period, but not as much 3rd and 4th. I mean, no, I got it in way more in 3rd and 4th than in 2nd period. And it's like, well, what are those ways? You know, whether you're hugging and kissing, close or standing together. Whereas when you're talking with someone maybe who's from an American Anglo culture kind of thing, there will be more space. I was like, and if someone is coming from Mexico and they're not aware of this, they might be like, oh, how rude. Like, they don't like me, they don't want to talk to me, they were so cold. And realistically, it's not. It's their culture and perspective. So we got into the discussion of how culture can influence our perspective and how we communicate differently depending on our culture and how we have to be aware of that when we're interacting with people, which is one of like the primary understandings that I want them to get from this unit. So it was cool that we were able to engage in that in the other classes.
I appreciate you letting me observe your class. I'll actually observe it videotape yours. I'll share.
Oh gosh, no!
I'll share like the edited and unedited version with you.
That was a good idea. Putting it like that for me when I do like how to do or something, that might be helpful.
That ended up helping. Yeah, and then like if you want to make this like kind of like a regular part of our coaching cycle, because I know it's always like hard to see you on videotape. Like I know that was hard for me, but I could better prepare for the TPA.
Yeah, and it's just like helpful to be able to like, oh, I did this, you know.
It's okay. It's not as bad as you see.
We'll see.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know you have to get to class.
Yeah. Alrighty. I have that meeting for the international trip for Mexicali. We should need to request the time off for that. Out of the program, we have to like an international experience.
Well, that's really cool. SDSU does something similar too with their dual language program as well.
Yeah, we're going. I'm in the Mexicali trip, so I'm going to Mexicali and help out at school. I think for like a week or something. So I need to request that time off for that.
Okay, we'll make it work.
Oh yes, definitely.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for coaching and all your help. Okay, I'll get ready to go. There's so many things